Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jeff Blankenburg. I am our Chief Technical Evangelist here at Alexa. And with me today, I have Arun and Ryan. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So, Arun, do you want to start?
Sure. Yeah. My name is Arunjeet Singh. I go by Arun, and I am the product manager for APL, Alexa Presentation Language, and Alexa Web API.
Awesome. And Ryan?
Hey folks, my name is Ryan Matthews. I'm the solution architect lead for the games and kids team. So my team looks after all of the gaming and kids partners on Alexa.
Very, very cool. All right. Well, welcome, guys. Thank you for being here. And I know we have a tight schedule today. We've only got about 30 minutes. So what I really want to get to is talking about the new device that was announced this week, the Echo Show 15. I can give you my personal perspective on it, which is that we have a new wall-mounted device. I guess it doesn't have to be on a wall, but that's generally where I think you'll see it. It's a 15-inch screen. The device is absolutely gorgeous, and the guys that are here with me actually have one with them. And I think we'll be seeing that here. Just there's Ryan's in portrait mode. So we're going to talk all about that today. We're going to talk about some of the technology that goes into it and some of the things that you guys are going to need to think about as you're building skills for this new device. So I think the first thing that I want to talk about, Arun, and I also want to encourage the audience, if any of you have any questions or comments or whatever, please post them in the chat, whether you're on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitch or YouTube or here on Hopin. All of those places are great. We're paying attention to all the questions, and we'll do our very best to answer as many of them as we can. But Arun, one of the things that I'd really like to start talking about is the new thing that's been introduced with the Echo Show 15, which is widgets. So I was hoping maybe you could give us a quick tour of what widgets are, how they work, and a little bit about the widgets gallery.
Sure. Yeah. Let me zoom in a little closer. I've got a camera on a tripod here, so it's super fun. Okay. So these are widgets, and on an Echo Show 15, they appear alongside what's on the left here is called the rotating content panel, or at least that's what we call it. This is the usual panel you see on Echo Show devices, but on the right there are 4 widgets. It's a little washed out. Let me see if I can turn off a light to make it look better. There we go. Hopefully we can see a bit more. But there is an reorder suggestions widgets, which is telling me I need to reorder Starbucks espresso capsules. There's a calendar widget. Let's see if I can scroll it a little bit. As you can tell, I'm going on a little mini vacation after this. It's been a bit of a stressful time. Above it is a weather widget, which don't be alarmed, is showing temperature in Celsius rather than Fahrenheit. And so that's what widgets do. They are information at a glance that updates automatically from a customer's point of view. For developers, they are basically mini APL documents that sit there on the device, along with a little bit of stored data also on the device. And then developers can can call a REST API to update that data anytime they want. So I don't have to interact with the weather experience or the calendar experience or shopping for that matter for this data to be updated. What the skill developers can do is just push this data down to the device. And that's kind of cool. And then let's switch over to the widget gallery. By the way, you can rearrange the widgets. I'm quite proud of this one. So that's good. But the widget gallery is where customers can go to get more widgets. It's not the only way. Customers can also ask by voice. You could say, add the weather widget, and it'll get added. And the widget gallery basically shows all of the widgets available to a customer. There's a bunch of ones here that are still in the works, as you can see. This one's clearly in testing mode. And it shows all the widgets available, irrespective of whether or not the skill that's behind the widget has been enabled by the customer. So this is the master list, if you will. And so, yeah, this one's a particular favorite of mine is the kitchen widget. I want to see if I can add it. That part hasn't been working super well, but we'll see. So that little chime says that the widget was added. If I go back to the home screen, hopefully I'll see it light up there. or else be a black screen. It'll come back eventually. Oh, there we go. Okay. So something's clearly wrong with the what to eat widget, because see, it's rendering as a black box. What I suspect is that the team that owned the widget have temporarily broken it. This is all test code. This is all internal. So that's not surprising. And to remove a widget, it's an opportunity to show that. You just hold down your finger, a long press, and then remove, and hopefully it should go away soon. But because it's a broken widget, that might take a while. All right.
Awesome, Arun. Thank you. That's incredible. So there's a couple of things that I want to make sure we call out there. The first is the widgets are APL themselves, right? So they can write an APL document, and that's how they create their widgets?
Yep, that is correct. The widgets are APL. If we have time, I can share my screen for a little bit and show what the widget authoring experience looks like. This will only be available to developers who are in the preview program for widgets.
Right. That was the next thing I was going to mention, is that there is a developer preview program, which you can go search for. If you look on the Alexa Live, not on the Alexa Live pages, but on the Amazon Tech Docs, there is a page where you can find a developer interest form. And maybe Arun or Ryan has a link to that we can share in the chat. But that is where you go to fill out and express your interest to make it possible for you to get access to this code in its early state. So I hope that answers some questions. I know there's a bunch of people in Hopin asking when can they get their hands on this code, when can they start building? And the answer now is fill out that developer interest form. But in the relatively near future, we will start expanding that. Share in the chat. But okay, so that's the first part. Is I wanted to also call out the widget gallery. That gallery that you were showing aren't just the widgets for skills that you have enabled or you have used. That's actually a gallery of all of the widgets that are available across all skills, correct?
Yes, that's right. All published and live skills that support any widgets at all will show up in there. And ironically, that's part of the reason we're keeping widgets in preview, and it's a small program. Oh, I'm going to turn on the light. I turned it off because it was shining on the screen. But it's one of the reasons that the developer preview is quite small, and we could only let in a small number of people, because we didn't build search or categorization into the gallery for the first version. We're going to add it eventually, and that's part of what we're going to do to make widgets generally available for developers.
Got it. And so for all of you that aren't watching on Hopin, but instead are on a social media network like Twitch or LinkedIn or YouTube or something, I am posting a link for you there that is for that developer interest form. Keep in mind that you are expressing your developer interest, but as Arun mentioned, it's a small preview. So I would not get your hopes up that everybody's going to get into this. But our hope is that we will continue to expand this program as we can. All right, so that was the first part. I wanted to talk about the device, the Echo Show 15, and show a little bit about how widgets work and what goes on there. The second thing that I want to talk about, though, is skills on the devices, and that's why we have Ryan here. As Ryan mentioned, he spends a lot of his time in games, and he has actually a pretty cool idle game built with the web API. And I'd really like for you to show that game, but then also talk about some of the things that developers need to consider as they're building skills to take advantage of the fact that this device can sit both in portrait mode and in landscape.
Yep, absolutely. So here you see the Echo Show 15 in portrait mode. And there was a question here on size and scale. So I'll put a Batman for scale. It's about 3 Batmans high, probably about 2 Batmans wide, just for reference. Somebody had also asked about width of the device. So you can take a look at it here, about like that. It's probably about 1 inch wide with the bevel in the background. As Jeff mentioned, one of the projects that I'm working on is a little personal game. It's an idle casual game. You will have seen some of these mechanics on the mobile space, but this is built using the web API for games. And in producing a game for and optimizing it for the new Echo Show 15, you've really got to take into consideration what your customer experience will look like in portrait mode. Many of the titles that customers enjoy right now are built for landscape. And so understanding what the customer experience would look like on a portrait mode is something you've got to think about. But let me walk you through. I'll give you a quick little demo of the skill that I've built and how it operates in both of the orientations. So always cross my fingers when we do a live tech demo, but let's give it a shot. Alexa, open Idle Champions.
Great to have you back. Let's get to it. 1 second while I...
And excuse the fingerprints on the screen. So here you have it. This is the splash screen for the game that I'm building. And to do this, what I've done is on startup, I've looked at the width and the height of the device, determined that it's in a portrait orientation, and then preloaded portrait-specific assets for the device. Given that all the assets for games are streamed to the device, I'm not going to download everything in both portrait and landscape mode, and that's important when I show you what comes next. But this is what it looks like. You can tap on the screen, you go to the next. And again, I haven't optimized some of this. I'm just going to mute the device. But you can have a look at everything is laid out accordingly. Now, if you were to rotate the device in a live skill session, such as this, you can notice that, no widgets, I don't want you. You'll notice that the experience stays in a portrait landscape, a portrait orientation, but is letterbox, as you can see the black bars on the sides. This is something that a skill developer could take into consideration by using some window listener events and then listening for a rotate or an orientation change, and then updating the skill accordingly. I've opted not to do that, as I mentioned before, because the title that I've built here is as graphic heavy. These are reprompts coming up in the game, don't worry. Because the skill is as graphic heavy as it is, I'm not going to download everything all at once. But let me exit this here, and then I'll show you what it looks like in landscape mode. Alexa, exit. Alexa, open Idle Champions.
Great to have you back. Let's get to it. I'll have this set up in just a second.
So what I've also done here is I'm loading a landscape or a portrait specific style sheet in my game. And here you see in all of its splendors, all the assets look the correct aspect ratios. You can keep going through the game and it brings you through as you need it. So that's just a very quick look of what you can do and how you can optimize your game to respect both orientations.
Ryan, that's
Alexa,
awesome.
exit.
Thank you for that. And I know I just shared with our audience the blog post that was published. It covers exactly what you need to do to think about how to handle those kinds of cases. So
Yep.
I do have one question that I haven't asked you previously, which is, what did you build that game in?
Yep, that's built in an HTML5 framework called Phaser.
Okay.
So it really is optimized for kind of like that 2D style, and it's very fast for our devices as well.
Got it. Well, one of the folks in our audience, that was my suspicion. One of the folks in our audience asked how they can access some of the features of this thing. In this case, how to run an HTML, CSS, JavaScript application on an Echo. And it sounds like the Web API for Games is probably the route for them on that. Is that correct?
That is the way you do it. Yep. And so at the very bottom of that blog post, it has some related links, which is getting started with Web API. You're able to create your game in your framework of choice. We see developers using Pixie, 3JS, and Phaser as kind of, I would say, the top three frameworks, and then use a JavaScript API that lives on the device. And that's how your skill and the web app communicate. So you can think of your web app as just sitting like an S3 bucket somewhere, and between the voice interaction model, it'll send JSON payloads to and from the web app. It does something on screen, and then goes back to the skill. And you can have your logic principally sitting within the skill, right? So that you would have it supported for headless experiences as well on an Echo Dot, for example. Or you can have it principally driven, as is this case, on the web app, which case I'm deliberately excluding any headless customers. So something to take in mind as to what you want your audience to be.
Got it. Okay, I have a couple of physical questions about the device from our audience. I know that we talked about how tall and wide it is. It's about 3 Batmans tall, 2 Batmans wide.
Correct. Universal measurements.
How many Batmans would you estimate it weighs? I'm actually curious in like an actual measurement of weight, but
it's probably about 2 Echo Show 8s heavy. If I was going to use that.
That's excellent.
I've only got relative measurements here. I'm not a good judge of
right.
grams.
Jeff,
Right.
I could tell you the weight, but it'd be in kilos. I don't know how much it would help.
I feel like we all probably have a device that can convert kilos to pounds for us. Okay, so I do have another question on that. If one of you wants to flip back to your camera of your device, can you point to where the speakers are on the device?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think they're in the back. I think they're down-firing speakers.
So there's
You know.
speakers on the bottom, as
Yeah.
well as speakers on the top. So because the back is beveled, the up and down firing speakers should ricochet off the walls and project the audio out. That's been my experience, just having it leaned up against my wall like this.
Got it.
Yeah, it is. It is designed to be placed close to a wall. I think it works best on or placed on. Feel like when placed on on a table, if it's a large wooden table or something like that, something that's naturally resonant, really helps. And if it's a wall like a drywall, it does a really great job of bouncing off the back of the wall and really filling the room with sound.
Excellent.
One
all
of
right.
the comments on with regards to the weight, I would say that principally these devices are meant to be like mounted in an orientation and kind of left there. It's not really meant to be used as a tablet, although you absolutely could, power cord notwithstanding. So these are just some of the things you should take into consideration when you're optimizing your skill for the device and whether or not you want to take that live orientation change into effect.
Got it. All right, Arun, this is a question for you. Someone had asked earlier, and I forgot to ask it. We showed the widgets gallery. We talked about the new capabilities that are on the Echo Show 15, but someone asked, will this work on older devices? I thought you could chime in on that.
Oh, that's a really great question. Let's see. Well, I brought some. So I've got an Echo Show 8 and an Echo Show 5 right here. And yes, the widgets work on these devices as well. So normally you'll see the same rotating content panel, but the widgets are accessible with a swipe from the right side. So you see it's those same three widgets, the calendar one, the reorder one, and a music widget, which basically shows me what I played recently. And like the calendar one on this one is set up to be extra wide. It's fine. And the other thing that these devices will do is when the customer exits a session with a skill or what have you. So I'm not going to start a skill. I'm just going to bring up settings to simulate that. As soon as they go back to the home screen, either by saying go home, exit, or just the screen timing out, the widgets will pop up again for a little while. The other time the widgets will show up is if the device has been idle for a while and it wakes up. So if you walk into a room, the same thing will happen. They'll pop in and then pop back out. You just saw them pop out. And here they are on an Echo Show 5. I should have pinned some widgets there. I have no widgets in my widgets gallery, a widgets panel. But it's and it's the same gallery here as well, by the way. Because this is a smaller device, the gallery takes up less space. See if I can bring it up. Okay, let's try here. Oh, yeah, that took a while. Okay, so you see how it's laid out carousel style here. Same here. It's hard to navigate with my finger in front of a camera. But interestingly, the widget gallery itself is also a skill. It's an APL-based skill, and it's what renders it. And adding the widget works the same way. There's a little plus button on top. I can go in and see the details of a widget if I'm interested. So it'll give me name and description and other information I might need, and then let me add it. So yeah, all devices, all Echo Shows. It's not on the Echo Spot.
Yeah, that was a question that just came in. Does Echo Spot get supported? And the answer is no, correct?
No, honestly, we don't know where we'd put them. It's not enough screen space.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, there's a couple of other questions here that I think are good. Dave Spiller and Hoppin wants to know, how often do widgets update? Is there a trigger, or is it timed, or what is is it a poll, or is it more like a push kind of notification?
Both are options. We recommend that most developers do push, because then you're able to update the widgets on your own schedule. It's not just polling your service and costing you a bunch of money. Once a widget is installed, one of the things developers can do is get an access token, and then use that access token later to call a REST web API, a REST API. It's called data store. It'll come back to me. It's called just the data store API, and just call that API and give it some new data to update with the widget. Every widget is associated with a data store that lives on device, and the APL documents that make up the widgets are bindable to that data store. So what you're effectively doing by calling that REST API is just updating that data store. This is what Calendar does, for example, to update the temperature, I think every 30 minutes. But you can also set up the widget to poll your service, but it's not recommended because you're going to get swamped really quickly if a lot of people use your widget.
Got it. All right. Someone else wants to know if they would ever have the option to keep widgets in place on the home screen instead of the default home screen behaviors.
Well, it's an option on the Echo Show 15. Okay. The widgets are on the home screen, but not on smaller devices. At least not the way they're set up right now.
Got it. All right. I don't know that we have any answers on this, but we did get a question about the developer experience for the another device that was announced, the Amazon Glow. I don't know that we have any information on that, but so
no,
yeah, I didn't think so.
I just know what I heard in the announcement, which is that they'll be talking about the SDK soon.
Yeah. That's one of the interesting things about working for Amazon is we have as many products as we do. We don't always get briefed on every one pre-release.
Yep.
Well, I can say this for a fact that Astro runs APL-based skills as well as Alexa Web API skills. I've seen them run on it.
Yep.
Yeah,
and for sure.
I think that's a really beneficial part of this entire Alexa story is that when we say a device supports Alexa, it supports the entire experience, right? If it has a screen, it'll support APL. If it has a microphone and a speaker, then it can support all the voice interaction. And so when I saw that robot Astro was an Alexa device also, I was so excited because now you basically have an Echo that can follow you around, which I think is pretty cool. All right, so I'm trying to think if there is anything. I don't see any other major questions that I can ask you guys. I know we still have about 7 minutes. Arun, do you want to give a quick tour of maybe what the APL looks like for a widget?
Oh, sure. Yeah, and I can also show off how to optimize APL for portrait mode if you have time. But let's take a look at a widget APL real quick. So let me see. I'll figure out how to share my screen.
Yeah, we haven't done this before. There's a share button at the bottom.
I see it.
And then once you have it, I can add it to the broadcast.
Okay. I think I have it up. All right, cool. So, I mean, this is the developer console we all know and love. I just opened a bunch of tabs. So we're looking at the skill called Legends of Basketball. Be inside it. And in here this is my list of saved widgets. I've got this one basketball widget. And the APL authoring experience looks very similar. I gave, for those of you familiar with APL Ninja, I gave Alexander Martin, who runs that, the viewport profiles for widgets last night. So hopefully he gets it in soon. So you're looking at the widget, and it can give you a preview of what it will look like on the device, or just the widget standalone if you want a bigger view. Give you the size of what the widget will be on every device. So this corresponds to the full screen viewport profile. If you're familiar with APL, you know what the viewport profiles are. So like this is what the widget will look like on a hub landscape medium. As you can see here, it's just an APL document, but there's a couple of things that are special here. It's using this extension called data store. That's how it accesses its data store, right? And then it sets up bindings. Now this is a basketball focused widget. So we've got a data store for the Lakers, for the Celtics, for the Bulls, for Warriors. And then what we're doing down here, well, let's see, let's go. And this is actually a slideshow. So if I run it, you'll see it. Let me just run it real quick. There we go. So point guard, center, all of the positions in each of these teams. Now there's nothing in the data store right now, so that's why that's empty, but it would have the names of the players. And that's what we're doing. And the way we bind it is simply use the data store name, the keyword data model, players, SG, right? And so this shows up. Now, if I want to preview it on my Echo Show, I can also do that. I have a lot of test devices. There we go. And then I can send it to device. Now let me bring up the device real quick. Switch cameras to it so you can actually see it happen. Okay. All right, I can't see what you see, so hopefully Jeff will tell me if something went horribly wrong. So this should show up.
It's looking good.
Device, and then hopefully, yeah, there we go. So it's just because we're just testing it, it's just showing it standalone. But if I wanted, I could actually install that widget onto the device from right here, in which case it would appear alongside the other widgets already on my device. So yeah, that's a brief overview of that. And then I also wanted to show off how to optimize an APL document for portrait. So here I've got an example of a relatively simple item screen. This is one. As soon as it loads, come on. Okay, there we go. This is one I built for the notifications team inside Amazon, actually, to show them how they could do like notifications in APL. This was a while ago. They've been APL for a while now. So if I send it to my Echo Show 15, you'll see it pop open on screen. That's great. But now if I walk up and I tilt the device, I got one of these stands that lets you do that especially. This is not the official stand. I haven't been able to get a hold of one of them. So hopefully you're seeing it, go into portrait and back into landscape. And so what I had to do to make this work is basically I went into my APL and I added this. I said, this thing supports resizing. And I did one more thing. I went into interfaces and I turned on the checkbox for Hub Landscape Extra Large and Hub Portrait Medium. Mostly Hub Portrait Medium. That's landscape, it worked fine before, but Hub Portrait Medium. So I told it, said that my skills supports this viewport profile, and then I went into my APL document and I said, this APL document supports resizing, and that was it. That's all I needed to do.
Got it.
To make it work in portrait.
All right, guys, we have about a minute and a half left. I'm going to go rapid fire with a few questions, so try to give me brief answers if you can.
Okay.
The first one is, if I have an Echo input, which is one of our older voice-only devices, and a dummy display unit, would it be possible for me to build my own Echo Show 15?
Ooh, no, not really. I mean, anybody can build an Echo Show using our Smart Screen SDK, but it's the SDK assumes everything's in one place. So if you could wire up a Raspberry Pi to that screen with a microphone,
something like one of these.
Oh, cool! Yeah, that's nice. I like the sticker. Yeah.
All right, cool. That was my first question. So the next question is: widgets are separate programs, not actually part of the skill. You publish them separately?
No, widgets are part of the skill. So that screen that I was showing you just now, that's inside my. That's part of my skill.
Okay.
So the skill package contains the widgets.
Perfect. Will the widgets and the widgets gallery be available on Fire TV devices?
Not right away. it's something that's on our backlog. Is all I can say.
Okay. No is just as good as answer. It's just informative. Okay. What is the expected cost of the 15? Am I right? It's $250 US?
Yeah, $249.99 to be exact.
Okay. Someone here mentioned that they just have an Alexa strapped to their Roomba, and it seems like Astro might be a level up for that. That's kind of funny.
I love it.
How do you deal with the power though?
Right. Well, they just get one of those battery packs, maybe, right? Or maybe they hardwired directly into the Roomba battery.
That sounds a little bit dangerous, but okay, all right. I'm just like I just keep wondering about the Astro, like whether they've done a cat test on it. Like what happens when a cat tries to ride an Astro? Because cats try to ride Roombas all the time. I don't know.
It has a stage for them, so.
All right. So then I think my last question is, I thought it was, is it now available for sale? What I've seen on the Amazon.com website is that it's available by invitation only. And so you should go fill out that form to request access to purchase one when they're available.
Sorry, what are we talking about? The Astro or the
Echo Show 15? Sorry.
Oh, the Echo Show 15 is what we call email me when ready. So you can go to the product page right now. I'm actually going there right now just to make sure. And there's an email me button. That'll email you as soon as it's ready for pre-orders.
Yeah, so you just need to go to the product page on the Amazon.com website. Right now, all of these products that were announced on Tuesday are listed right there at the top of the Amazon.com homepage. So just find the Echo Show 15, tap on that, and then there is a email me button in order to get that invitation. I assume, and Arun, I think this is a US only launch at this point.
At this point, yes, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, that was my belief as well. So for those in the UK or other places that are looking to get one, I would say make friends with an American for right now. And if you're impatient, and if you can be patient, I would imagine we'll have a broader rollout. Sure. All right, we are out of time, but this was fantastic. I think we covered a lot of ground. We answered a lot of questions. So I want to thank you both for being here. And thanks to everybody for your fantastic questions and participation. So we'll be back with another awesome Tech Talk next month. So look forward to that. And in the meantime, we will see you in Slack and office hours and all the other places that we have very, very soon. So for Arun and Ryan, thank you guys all for tuning in, and we will see you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Quick correction, it's also available in the UK. So it actually might be, so the email me button's there.
Perfect. So it looks like in the UK, you can go to amazon.co.uk and find the same experience there. Awesome. Thank you for fixing that right away. Thank you, Arun. Bye, everyone.
Take care.